After the 4 side openings are pinned, the next step is to stitch the sides of the little flaps. The first thing that we need to do is to always check to make sure that our machine is stitching correctly. We've got it threaded correctly. And remember, you don't have to do a lot, just an inch or so. Check to make sure it looks good on both the back and the front. Okay, we're going to start with the one that is on the right side or right half of the bag. And you have 2 like this and 2 that are done just the exact opposite. I'm going to let my presser foot down so that the inside of this toe right here is right along the edge, just like we did when we did the hem. The other one is going to be done slightly differently. I'm going to drop my needle down, and I want to do a couple of stitches forward, and then don't forget to back stitch. And I'm going to stitch right along this edge, keeping this little flap flat. And I'm going right with this edge next to that silver bar. And I have to stop and take my pins out as I go. There we go. One more pin. I'm almost to the end. Now, I'm not going to stitch all the way to the end. I want to stitch about 1 or 2, well, maybe about 1/8 of an inch before the end, so I can see it through my foot. I'm going to stop right there, lift my presser foot up because I'm going to pivot, and then I need to stitch only maybe about 2 stitches across. So I'm going to do 1, 2, and then I'm going to check to make sure I'm lined up correctly, and I'm not lined up yet, so I need to make sure I do at least another stitch. I'm guessing that's probably about right. That'll do. And then because I don't have any pins on this side, I could go a little faster if I wanted to along this side. But the main thing is that you have that nice crisp corner at the bottom. You've got 2 corners. When we get to the top, we're going to stop and back stitch a couple of stitches and then stitch off the end, needle up, press your foot up, pull off to the left and clip your threads. And it should look like kind of like that when you get done. It's kind of a square shaped U or U-shaped stitching. Now when we do the other one, we have to set it up a little bit differently. We're going to line up this edge right here with the middle of the presser foot. And I'm going to get it lined up first. And I'm right about, there's a little mark in the middle of the presser foot, and that's where I'm going to line it up. And I'm going to drop my needle down at that point. Then take my pin out. Make sure I've got everything out of the way so I don't accidentally stitch over the top of something I shouldn't. And stitch a couple of stitches forward, and then I'm going to back stitch. And then I want to be stitching right along that edge as I go down the side. The reason why I stitch them differently is because this side's going to lift up. If I stitch down this side first and take the pins out as I go like I'm supposed to, I'm either going to have to repin it down here at the bottom before I turn, or else this side's going to flap up and it's not going to look the way that it's supposed to. So I'm almost to the bottom. I want to wait till I'm about maybe 1 more stitch. Okay, so I'm not quite off the bottom. I'm going to lift my presser foot up, turn this all around, and remember last time it took us 3 stitches to get across, so that's what we're going to shoot for this time. 1, 2, 3, and then we should be able to turn, and again we want to stitch near that edge on the way up. Don't fall off the edge, that's not good. And then when we get to the very top, we're going to stop and back stitch a couple of stitches, stitch off the end, needle up, presser foot up, And don't forget, we want to get rid of all those threads. And if you can't cut them short with the thread cutter, then go ahead and take your little scissors and cut them. Now, if you notice, mine's a little bit off right here. It's not quite on the edge. I'm okay with that, as long as my edge is staying tucked under and I'm not too far away from it. Because from the outside, it doesn't look too bad. Plus, that part right there is actually going to be tucked under whenever we do the casing, and nobody's going to see that little piece. That's the step you're working on today. You have to do all 4 of them. 2 of them are done one way, 2 of them are done the other way.